So if I see a bit of just a sharp move higher on euro Monday, maybe Tuesday, and I'll expect this to be more of something like that for us to actually go ahead and trade back down and be targeting, of course. Hey guys, this is our weekly market outlook where we use multiple time frames to identify opportunities and prepare for the week. Our goal overall is to empower entrepreneurs and professionals, whether you are working a career full time or running a business full time. Our goal is to empower you to make day trading a reliable income. All right. So if you're completely new or need a refresher when it comes to day trading currencies or indices, we've gone ahead and created a free mini course just for you, and you can go ahead and access it by clicking the link below in our description. All right. Other than that, if you're ready to get started, hit the subscribe button, leave us a like, and let's go ahead and dive in. We got high impact indices news tomorrow at 9:45. So maybe we'll see what's going on with indices tomorrow. But you guys know when it comes to Forex, I prefer not to trade any currencies until going into Tuesday. Tuesday we have 10 a.m. consumer confidence. 4 a.m. we got some Euro news. We got some GBP CAD medium impact during New York session tomorrow. On Tuesday, and on Monday we got high impact GBP news on Monday, so we'll see how that impacts the markets. Now on Wednesday, we have high impact news at 8 a.m. building permits, and then we got high impact news at 10 a.m. and then we got high impact news at 10:30, and then we also have FOMC releasing at 2 p.m. Okay, the previous rate on FOMC was 525. This is the first time, like we talked about on a couple market outlooks ago. This was the first time in about a year that they didn't raise the interest rates. Okay, so if you look at this calendar here, literally for since last July, even more actually, since January 26, 2022, every single time they had a rate decision, they raised the rate decision, except for last month's in June, right? They maintained it, and that's everybody's hopeful, right? You can get people hopeful about them not raising rates, but that ain't happening. That they have already spoken about seeing it at a 5 point average somewhere to closer to 6% by the end of the year, right? So that means we should see at least 2 more rate increases. So next forecast is for 5.5, but given that they've hinted at there being at least 2 more, I wouldn't be surprised if they held off again, right? Because there's another 6 months left in the year. They could definitely hold off for another 2-3 months before they actually do continue to raise rates and still hit their target by the end of the year. I'm not going to play the prediction game. It's just that I'm not going to be caught off guard if they don't raise the rates, right? But we are expecting that they'll raise the rates, and that's positive on US dollar. Now, of course, the rules is that we do not trade FOMC, so do not be over here trying to dance in the markets at 2 p.m. Or PM session. For those of y'all that trade indices, just leave PM. And I'm just going to leave PM session alone, and you probably just want to leave PM session alone. But other than that, wouldn't be surprised to see the markets do some BS coming into that, of course, right? High impact news drivers like FOMC, NFP, CPI, like stuff like that is always going to be crazy. But we have that coming up this Wednesday at 2 p.m. So we'll be aware of that. We also have Euro interest rate decision coming on Thursday, so we can keep that in mind as well. So we'll be looking at EU for sure, and EU and dollar, of course. So with that, we got Euro news Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. We got high impact news on dollar, GDP dropping on dollar, initial jobless claims dropping on dollar, pending home sales. This is going to be a very volatile week, right? Just based off looking at the news, it's a lot of high impact news this week. So put your hat on, right? And this is right. I was a little bit too zoomed in on the recording, but y'all should be good now. You guys should be good. Hopefully it wasn't too bad and we could still see. But anyways, on the DXY, we have the buy side liquidity, like I said here, from last, is that last Wednesday? No, that was from 2 Wednesdays ago, right? From that, not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before. And then we have the gap from the daily time frame sitting right above it here. All right. So I want to keep those in mind as areas, as key levels that we may want to trade back into. And just looking at this time frame that we're on right now, here's our high, and we also got some double tops sitting up here, equal highs, pretty equal highs. We can keep that in mind. And from this high down to this low, right, that gap would be right at the 50%. Okay, so if the markets open up this week bullish and going for this here, then I'm going to be anticipating that the markets are actually going to want to maybe make a move lower or consolidate with this fair value gap. Because like I said, we have that buy side liquidity for them to deliver to. We have this gap for us to trade to, and then right below us we have this fair value gap from last week's price action, right, that we never traded back into, right? We know that this white box here is the higher time frame order block, right? We know that that's the higher time frame order block, but it ain't looking, it ain't got to be the strongest order block. And right here is our fair value gap. And I don't want to use that. I'm going to use the white box. Right there is our fair value gap, right? So if price starts off bearish this week, then yeah, see them sweep that low, come into the fair value gap, give us an opportunity like that. But if the market starts off bullish this week, either we going to just keep going or we'll see them go ahead and come into this take this buy side, come into rebalance price here, and then see them actually trade back down to this fair value gap, which if they get caught between these two major levels, then we could just see a consolidation, or this could offer a strong support, this fair value gap and order block, off of other higher time frame discount areas could offer us a strong support. So even if they come up to this, we could see price either stall here or reject from this, and continue up to the money that we see up here, right? So I'm just keeping these in mind, right? The money located right there. So just keeping this in mind, like I said, this buy side liquidity here and fair value gap here. We'll see what times, right? But what kill zones? Is it a London session? It is a New York session that we trade up into an area like this, or are we going to trade lower first and move from there? But as of the middle of the month, we are bullish so far. We was bullish. As of last week was the middle of the month. We're bullish, but just looking overall, we are still bearish, right? We still want to pay attention to that. Markets has been bearish since May. But we have came into a higher time frame discounts, so we can be aware that if we continue to see displacement higher, like this was beautiful, right? So now that we've seen this on a higher time frame, I would be expectant that we respect this level of support and trade away from it, right? But just be aware that we are still in a higher time frame. Or the order flow is bearish, right? So if we trade up higher first, come and take levels like these at, especially during like New York session or something like that, then I might actually look to sell dollar off of these opportunities back down into a support level like this before we actually continue higher, right? So that is what I'll be expecting on dollar. Going over to USDCAD, we did anticipate that USDCAD would want to trade potentially back into this fair value gap here. All right, we did expect that, but they actually first when they opened up the week, we actually first made a run on the liquidity from the week prior, right? From not even from the week prior. It looks like that was formed on Sunday, right? Sunday market open. We formed some double tops here on the 1 hour. Yeah, Sunday market open. We formed some double tops here. That was the high of the week, and they came up, ran the high of the week, then displaced lower down to that, right? Down to that fair value gap. So this is another example here where it's interesting though, because I'm not sure. Let's see, Tuesday, 10 a.m. I'm pretty sure this was diverging from the dollar, because Tuesday at 9 a.m. dollar was trading higher, right? So it might have had you a little messed up. But at the end of the day, at that, at this time, USDCAD was trading up above this buy side liquidity here, and that was a false move, as you can see. Dollar was trading higher. I mean, dollar was trading low high at that time. Let's see, 9 a.m. on Tuesday. 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Boom. Yeah, so 9 a.m. on Tuesday, we was actually seeing dollar give a bit of a, it was at, they had just swept the lows, right? We had seen dollar just sweep the lows, and then they were starting to trade higher, but we were still bearish on dollar at that time. We hadn't given this continued move up, but at that same time, dollar was starting to go ahead and give a higher high, right? This is 9 a.m. right here. We have a low, we have a high, we have a lower low, and we have a high, and then we had a higher high here at 9 a.m. And then it was that next hour at 11 that they gave the lower low. So you would have been a little bit confused, right? Because USD CAD was trading up higher during that time, diverging from dollar, and we saw them sweep the buy side liquidity and then go ahead and sell off, right? And where did they sell off to? They sold off to the fair value gap. After already having traded down to it Monday morning, they traded to the fair value gap, came up, swept the buy side liquidity. After sweeping buy side, delivered straight into the fair value gap again, right? So USD CAD wasn't the prettiest as far as aligning with the dollar this week. But coming into Thursday's price action, right? Like I said, on dollar, right? Dollar's price action on Thursday, that's where it was the cleanest. Okay, that's where we saw them actually go ahead here, and we had here, right? And we had them actually trade back into this range, was that Thursday's price action, and we saw dollar give us higher lows, right? Dollar gave us higher lows, while USD CAD was giving us lower highs, right? So we were seeing USD CAD make a run on liquidity, okay, and then we saw them go ahead and go bullish, right? So USD CAD, they traded down into the fair value gap, but they didn't respect it for real. They didn't respect it, traded past it. But like I said, that divergence was pretty clean. And you see this 9 a.m. price action. We saw bullish USD CAD and then a clean opportunity right here. So all right, clean opportunity there on that order block, and they traded back down into it here, really not even into the order block, well, in the order block as a whole, you could say, but you'll pay attention to this on the lower time frame. Let me zoom in for y'all. Same thing as I pointed out on the higher time frame on dollar. This was our move higher before we sold off and swept this liquidity. And then we saw them trade up past that here, and then they traded back down into aka mitigation breaker on a lower time frame. On the 15-minute, it would have been it was a lot clearer. All right, on the 15-minute, very clear. Boom. Order block higher, traded off lower, swept the sell side liquidity. And then in the morning, we saw major displacement higher, and then you saw them trade back to it, respect the level, and yeah, I mean, opportunities here on buy opportunities, and then they went ahead and ran out the highs. You feel me? So USD CAD wasn't really, I didn't trade UCAD last week. I left her alone, but I can, in hindsight, they say hindsight is 20/20. But either way it goes, you feel me? the proof is in the pudding. You feel me? Dollar was diverging. UCAD was diverging from dollar. Sweep on the lows, displacement higher. Could have had an opportunity right there on the breaker on Thursday. Now, earlier in the week would have been either low probability for you or very difficult for you because of the way that it was diverging and wasn't really aligning with the dollar. So those are things that you want to be aware of, right? Is when our pairs aren't, when we're not seeing them trade together the way that they're supposed to, that can either be a good thing if you know how to use the smart money technique, or it can just be low probability conditions and you just leave that thing alone. Going into next week though, on UCAD, over the last month or so, here's our high, here's our low over the last month. Saw them trade from that high down to the low. This is our swing high, swing low. And so right now we are trading right up to the equilibrium, right to that halfway point. And we already traded there once, which was last week. You see what happened. They traded there, rejected away immediately, right? And that left a buy side liquidity, daily buy side, as well as a fair value gap that is here on the daily time frame that has not been completely filled yet. All right, so similar to the dollar, right? So, and also last week's high, right? That was last week's high. So that's of course going to be a place that our eyes are going to want to pay attention to. All right, now last week's price action, the buy up from Friday's price action left this fair value gap here for us. All right, so same thing as dollar, right? Are we going to first trade higher into this and maybe expect for them to trade lower or just continue going from there? Or are we first going to start the week trading bearish, pay attention to when we trade into this fair value gap? Do we get some type of accumulation in this zone and then a manipulation lower, and then we see the distribution higher continued? That's kind of what I want to be paying attention to. But my higher time frame bias on UCAD, similar to dollar, is that we are sweeping sell side liquidity on this consolidation for us to actually go bullish, right? And we've already seen them same thing, sweep down into this low here and start to displace. So on a higher time frame, I do expect to see them go and aim for the highs from July, the current highs of this month, and ultimately start making our way up to these highs that have been left in place. If you notice, all these highs on UCAD, they haven't been touched, right? And I'm gonna show you what I mean. Okay, so this entire year here, right? This is this year. Since we formed the high of the year, we have a high here that was never ran, right? We have a high here that was never ran. We have a high here that was never ran. We have a high here that was never ran. We have a high here that was never ran, right? And we now have a high here that was never ran, which actually lines up with a previous high here, which makes it a double top, right? So there's a lot of buy side liquidity, and price just came into this area of inefficiency on a higher time frame and cleaned up these, fair value gaps. I mean, this fair value gap probably got a little bit more room inside this daily gap right here. I don't know. They came right on down to the 50% of that fair value gap. So really, they could be done with it if they want to. If not, they'll have to fill all the way down to the order block, right? But for right now, yeah, these highs are suspect. So I'm not gonna go trying to catch the moon, but I'm just letting you guys know that there's a lot of reasons for us to continue bullish, going back to what we talked about at the beginning, which is a lot of bullish narrative, right? A lot of things to line up with my bullish narrative, which if I have a bullish narrative and I've seen them give us displacement out of this level here, and they came back down, and again, we're seeing displacement out of this level here, potentially seeing them go ahead and come back down into this fair value gap. Let's see what happens when we go down to the hourly. We'll go down to the hourly. Yeah, we can identify a couple areas of mitigation that could be played back into, right? I mean, this was the last up candle here before we sold off, and they actually already played that up candle. Actually, yeah, we traded up out of this, came back down into it here, and that's where we rejected from and traded higher. So I guess we can't pay attention to that guy, but we do have this last this drop here before the engulfing, right? This would make this our breaker candle. So we can pay attention to that. We can pay attention to this zone. But like I said, if they trade up higher first and grab this daily buy side, and then we see some bearishness, okay, cool. We may look for the bears to come in, right? But overall, like I said, bullish sentiment overall for me on this, and I've been that way for a few weeks now, right? Been that way for a few weeks, but I'm being aware. I'm not getting caught up in my bias, but I am paying attention, especially to where we are on these higher time frames. And of course, this all goes based off of what the dollar actually does, right? Now, Euro USD, okay, price has been pretty consistent. We've been seeing dollar start to recover. We've been seeing Euro USD lose strength. We've been seeing, previously we were seeing Euro USD gain strength and the dollar was falling off. They've been pretty consistent on the higher time frames. Let's look at this Euro USD real quick. What was the open of the year over here? So pretty much we are at high all-time highs for the year. We saw Euro USD start to lose strength after taking the weekly buy side liquidity here last week. Let's see, last week's Monday was there. The Monday before that was down in the corner over here. So we just had and then this Monday coming up, gonna start right here. All right, so yeah, we just had an expansion week on Euro USD, and then we had a correction, a bit of a retracement going down, and we actually traded right back down into this fair value gap. Interesting thing is that when we're trading and we're looking for a retracement type of entry, we would be looking for that inside of a fair value gap. So yeah, similar way of going about my bias here on Euro USD. Seeing how we start the week off or how we respond to price. Because we had a bit of a, I guess you could say it's like a consolidation a bit here. But it started down here, right? Here was our consolidation. And then we saw price expand out of it, trade back to it here. There's a retracement. And then we saw them go ahead and expand higher. We saw them trade back down into this fair value gap, consolidate slightly, and then we got another expansion here. Then we saw them trade back down. And then we saw them give another expansion here. Now we traded above weekly and monthly, monthly and weekly buy levels of buy side liquidity. So potentially we could be ready to see a bit of a reversal, potentially, right? If not, then they'll just be using this and maybe, this area here as a level of support to continue higher. But as of right now, after seeing this displacement lower out of the weekly buy side and the monthly buy side, I could definitely rely on them to be wanting. The order flow is bearish at this moment in time, right? So we see here a bit of a range in itself, right? I guess we can kind of go from this low as well. All right, so a bit of a range here in itself. And honestly, let me not even, would this start on a Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, consolidated until about Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, similar to the dollar. And a bit of that consolidation. I mean, you could say that this was the range. That's cool too, right? That's cool too. And then they expanded out of it, traded back up in here into the halfway point of that range. And then we saw them go ahead and trade away from it. But even just looking at this entire zone here, right, where we had these lows and highs, and that's the zone that I'm talking about, all the way up until Wednesday morning. And then we saw them expand out of that back to the same weekly buy side they just broke out of, and then they traded back up into what, fair value gap / order block area right here. Bang. And then we saw price displace lower, right? So here was our accumulation / consolidation. Here's our expansion lower. Here's our retracement, right? Then here's our next expansion lower. Now we're seeing some accumulation, right? So if I see price trade higher, just like I said on dollar, if I see price trade back higher at the beginning of the week, I'm going to take that as a measure of manipulation, right? As we just reject away from this 4-hour fair value gap, which is nice. It's nice that they're doing that, but right, consolidation, expansion, retracement, expansion, where could they retrace back into? Maybe this fair value gap here, right? Maybe even just this one, right? But I'm going worst case scenario for right now. Let me go down to the 1 hour. Well, let me try the 4 hour real quick. Look at this range, 4 hour low. Yeah, see them come up above the halfway point of this range right here. Yeah. So either up there, because we do have a draw on liquidity up here. We've got some buy side right here. And let me go back here, make this go away. All right. So we have some buy side here. And then that fair value gap up there, but I'll also take into account this liquidity void here, this imbalance. Take that into account as well. So we're starting to see a little bit of accumulation going on here. So if I see a bit of just a sharp move higher on Euro, Monday, maybe Tuesday, and I'll expect this to be more of something like that for us to actually go ahead and trade back down and be targeting, of course, there's the lows here, but for right now, let's keep it simple. We have these lows here on the 1 hour. And then we also have this fair value gap here they can reprice to. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one so we're not too confused. But this is what I'll be paying attention to. Order flow has been bearish now. And on a higher time frame, we have a couple of discount areas to trade to. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking on EURUSD. Now, if we start the week off bearish and we come down and tag this fair value gap, then yeah, maybe, or even just sweeping these lows to start the week off, then maybe then, because this is last week's lows here, as well now, right? Last week's lows. Was popping Mackay. So yeah, that's how I'll be taking that into account on Euro USD. So fair value gaps. The 50% is right there at 1167 on Euro USD. So do we see a move higher? Right, and with this bearish order flow, I would prefer bearishness. I'm bullish on dollar. I would prefer to see Euro USD first give us bullish Monday, right? See bullish, and then see how we respond in this level here on Monday at 1162. If we break past that, then Tuesday I'll be paying attention to how we trade into this 1193 level. And if going into New York session, maybe even London session, if I choose to be up for London, depending on Monday's price action, if I see what I want to see with some manipulation and up into this level, a little bit of accumulation, maybe we can navigate the high of the week right here. But I'll update you guys with a video tomorrow after Monday's price action as to which one it's looking like. All right. So I like Euro. I like Euro USD. I like Euro USD the most. And it makes sense because, again, we have high impact news on Euro. We have interest rates on Euro and dollar this week. Very, very interesting. Pay attention to those. And on both on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll see what's going on with them guys. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm gonna just be honest with you. You can't just show up to the charts to press buttons. It just doesn't work like that. It's like a skill set. And if you don't spend time sharpening the skill set, you're not gonna make money, right? It's not like it doesn't happen automatically. I was talking to somebody in another server that I'm a part of, and I was just like, yo, bro, like you have to think of this like a sport, right? If you barely practice basketball, you're not about to expect to be a millionaire playing basketball. You're not about to expect to get signed to no NBA teams and be a millionaire playing for an NBA team. You were not going to expect to make a living playing for no NBA team, let alone a G League team. You're not going, if you never practice football, you're never going to expect to get signed to, a football league and be able to, take care of your family. You might do it for fun. So if you're day trading for fun, ignore me. But if you're looking to like make this a income, like you're looking to make this something that makes you money that you can depend on, a reliable skill set, you have to practice. You have got to get in the gym. There's no way that you're going to be able to do that. The server is free at this point. Like, you are able to be here, and if you're not using it, not just to hop on these calls with me, not just to like, take, some of y'all took the mini course, whatever the case is, like if you're not using this on an accountability level, like at least use it to hold yourself accountable, because you got to go to the gym. Like Kobe Bryant, he was the best because people would show up to the gym and Kobe would already be at the gym, and they would leave and Kobe would still be at the gym, right? Same thing for, somebody like Stephen Curry. I was watching a video, one of his teammates talking about him, and he's the greatest shooter in NBA history. Like, this man has changed the way that kids are playing the game of basketball just because of the way that he shoots the basketball. But it's not just that he shoots threes. He doesn't just go out there and just shoot the ball from as far as possible, right? And bear with me if you don't watch the NBA, just take the lesson from what it is that I'm saying, right? Stephen Curry said that he practices his 3-point shots. He doesn't just do a shoot around. He doesn't just show up to the gym and go practice his 3-point shots. He likes to practice his 3-point shots at the end of practice when he's tired. You feel me? Because he said anybody can make a three when they're energized. You feel me? Anybody can catch a trade right after you went and studied. You feel me? Right after you went and, had a nice nap and you woke up in the morning. Anybody can see a trade, right? He waits until after practice when he's tired, when he doesn't feel like shooting no more. That's when he goes and shoots another 10, 30, 50, 100 shots, right? Because if I can shoot while I'm fatigued, I'm going to be the best on the court. You feel me? So it's not just the days that you feel like, showing up. It's not just the days that you feel like back testing, or that you feel like, sharpening up on the concepts that you need to sharpen up on. Like, you got to do it when you don't feel like doing it. You got to do it when you're tired, because I'm just being honest with you. Like, you can make a living with this skill set. Like, trading has very well supplemented my income. It has not surpassed what my business does for me yet, but it has very, very much supplemented my income. And it's not because, I check my chart every couple weeks, or because, I studied and studied. It's because I've literally spent time, whether it was on a demo account or on a live account, actually taking trades. I've spent time actually back testing, showing up in the market, and actually being able to make a decision. One of my coaches, he broke this down, and he was just saying, if you want to be a successful and a profitable trader, it's 2 skills that you got to be able to master. Those 2 skills that you have to be able to master is you have to be able to master equity preservation and making profits. You feel me? Which means that the first skill of trading is preserving equity, that you not by not trading, right? Not just by not trading, but by being able to properly manage your trades. You feel me? By being able to properly manage your emotions. And if you're never taking the time to back test, you're never taking the time to show up and see what's on the charts for yourself, you're never taking the time to actually predict what's happening, then you're not giving yourself that practice of controlling your emotions, of managing a trade that you need to be able to properly manage and preserve the capital. And if you're somebody who is unable to manage and preserve capital, then if you can't preserve equity, you're not going to have any equity to make profits off of. If you can't preserve capital, you're not going to have any capital to make money off of. So you have to practice this skill set. Like, it's not a choice. You feel me? So at the end of the day, if you in a community, you're in this community, you're in a Traders Guild, use it. Like, be accountable. You feel me? Keep a journal. Like, actually journal, your emotions, journal your trades. You feel me? Make a schedule for yourself so that you actually are showing up to the gym, showing up to the charts. You feel me? Showing up to back test, showing up to take trades. You feel me? And when you're not taking trades, back test. Do you get what I'm saying? And if you are somebody that's already, you have no problem showing up, you have to manage your emotions, man. But like I said, you can't even get to the managing your emotions part properly if you're not even taking trades, or you're not even showing up to the charts. There's no emotions to manage yet because you're not showing up. So just want to go ahead and put that out there. But yeah, that's what I see going on for this week. Like I said, I'll go ahead and drop a recording as far as what I see going on with the indices after I finish editing this video. Probably have that released by tomorrow morning or going into tomorrow night. And if I see anything else, like as far as other pairs, I'll just throw it into that video as well. Hey guys, no mistake, Maverick here at 2 a.m. in the morning in the do-rag to make sure that these videos are perfect for you. All right, if you made it to the end of this video, clearly you've gotten some value. So leave us a comment, like the video, and subscribe. We really appreciate if you share the mission, because our goal is to empower entrepreneurs and professionals, whether they're working a career full-time or running a business full-time, to make a reliable income through day trading currencies and indices. Okay, we have a weekly market outlook that releases on this channel. We do it live in our community, so feel free to join our free community so you can get access to stuff like this live. Okay, other than that, we have videos coming out on this channel to go ahead and educate. We have a free mini course in the description that you can get access to right now, and plenty of other value on the way. So you guys have a great one, and see you on the next video here on the Traders Guild. Thank you.